U/voidox. 2 days ago. Valorant anti-cheat starts upon computer boot and runs all the time, even when you don't play the game. The kernel anti-cheat driver, vgk.sys, starts when you turn your computer on. To turn it off, you either need to change the name of the driver file so it wouldn't load on a restart, or you can uninstall the driver. It will be installed back again when you open the game. So yeah, the big issue here is it running even when players don't have the game open, from startup no less. It runs at ring 0 of the Windows kernel, which means it always has the same rights as administrator from the moment you boot. For comparison, BattleEye and Easy Anti-Cheat both load when you're opening the game, and unload when you've closed it. If you'd like to see for yourself, open CMD, and type sc_query vgk. It has been confirmed as intended behavior by Riot over at r/Valorant, as well as him giving an explanation about Riot's stance on this.
TLDR Yes, we run a driver at system startup. It doesn't scan anything, unless the game is running. It's designed to take up as few system resources as possible and it doesn't communicate to our servers. You can remove it at any time. Vanguard contains a driver component called vgk.sys, similar to other anti-cheat systems. It's the reason why a reboot is required after installing. Vanguard doesn't consider the computer trusted unless the Vanguard driver is loaded at system startup. This part is less common for anti-cheat systems. This is good for stopping cheaters because a common way to bypass anti-cheat systems is to load cheats before the anti-cheat system starts and either modify system components to contain the cheat or to have the cheat tamper with the anti-cheat system as it loads. Running the driver at system startup time makes this significantly more difficult. We've tried to be very careful with the security of the driver. We've had multiple external security research teams review it for flaws. We don't want to accidentally decrease the security of the computer like other anti-cheat drivers have done in the past. We're also following a least privilege approach to the driver where the driver component does as little as possible, preferring to let the non-driver component do the majority of work. Also, the non-driver component doesn't run unless the game is running. The Vanguard driver does not collect or send any information about your computer back to us. Any cheat detection scans will be run by the non-driver component only when the game is running. The Vanguard driver can be uninstalled at any time. It'll be Riot Vanguard in add/remove programs, and the driver component does not collect any information from your computer or communicate over the network at all. We think this is an important tool in our fight against cheaters, but the important part is that we're here so that players can have a good experience with Valorant, and if our security tools do more harm than good, we will remove them and try something else. For now, we think a run at boot time driver is the right choice.
Now look, I can understand why they do it and people wanting a better anti-cheat. But this just brings up a whole number of issues, from data to vulnerability to security to trust. You have a piece of software that can't be turned off, that runs with elevated privileges non-stop on your system. If someone with malicious intent can figure out a way to use it as a rootkit, like, come on, Riot are not magicians creating perfect software that can't be cracked or beaten, as apparently some Valorant fans think. Let's say the ant-cheat gets compromised tomorrow. You won't know that your computer is exposed and it won't update until you start the game. I also believe it should be made very clear that this is something that the game does, and at the very least should be something toggleable. Riot is already saying you can uninstall the anti-cheat if you want to, so let this be something users can easily toggle. Then comes the trust issue. With the amount of backlash Blizzard, rightfully, got for the Blitzchung incident, and how people were all over Blizzard for Tencent having shares in it, 5% stake. How are their PPL actually just waving off anyone with concerns of having a startup kernel on their system from a company owned by Tencent? How are their people faulting others for caring about this issue, and asking for more than just Riot saying trust us?
Oh, that's life in the big city, baby. The game also, so I uninstalled it. I took yeah. I spent some time reading up on the kernel driver the game installs as part of its anti-cheat, which is running at all times, whether you're running the game or not. It basically starts at boot up, and I'm not super comfortable with that. That seems like a really shitty way. Also, people are cheating in the game, so it's not like they've acknowledged that like, hey, we've seen some cheaters. It's like, okay, so it's invasive and not getting the job done.
Oh boy.
I want to say that they said that hey, in this early going, they're taking a very passive stance on the cheating stuff just to see how it goes. But they did acknowledge that they've got some work to do on the cheater front. But they did not acknowledge, hey, this is a thing we're taking out. It's more just like, yep, that's what it does. And so when you first install the game, it makes you reboot your PC after the first time you run it, because it has to install that kernel driver, and then you need to reboot, and then you get to play the game. So people have come up with, I saw like a PowerShell script going around that basically uninstalls the anti-cheat stuff. It'll like launch the game, and then when you close the game, we'll uninstall the anti-cheat so that the driver is no longer running. But it means that anytime you run the game, you will have to reboot your PC first to reinstall that driver, which is not a great solution. And I'm not a big enough Counter-Strike fan to see myself playing a ton of it anytime soon. I'll keep tabs on it for sure, but between those two things, I was just like, you know what? If we're gonna do something with Valorant later on, I will reinstall it. If we're gonna get a team together and stream it or something like that, but I'm not just gonna leave it installed in its current state. That just doesn't seem like a good way to handle that stuff. Not that other games have not tried to handle this stuff in similar ways, of course, but
right.
Yucky. Did not seem cool.